chess? There you go, chat. I see the chat rattling off. Quick draw incoming. You've lost your mind. Sully, you've lost your absolute.
Here we go. E4, E5 is the choice, and it looks like an early jacket off power move here from Magnus. The jacket comes off, not 2 moves into the game.
Right, flexing the steps. Look at him.
Maybe an error from Hans. He didn't bring a jacket to take off, so he's been outclassed on move 2 here so far.
Already, jacket off, your turn.
Openings in chess here, of course, e4, e5, knight f3, knight c6. The decision just being bishop c4 or bishop b5, and Magnus decides to go for bishop c4, the Italian, and we have a very, very topical position, bottom left of your screen. Keep in mind, the women's section is on top. That's Goryachkina and Magunzul on board number 1. That's the top left, as well as Humpy Conero against Lei Ting-jae, Zhu Jiner, and Katerina Lacno. And actually, my attention is drawn to the knight to h3.
H3. Is that a transmission error?
The women's section as well.
No, that's crazy. That looks like that went e4, e5, d4, ed, bishop c4, knight c6, knight h3.
And yet, one thing is that we just saw a game very similar to this with colors reversed, right? With Hans having the white pieces. He just played Artemiev, and we saw something to the effect of rook e8, bishop e6, some exchanges. Of course, white ended up playing d4, and then d5 was the reaction. Now, it's a little bit different with this pawn on a5 than what we had in that one. I believe the pawn was on a6 there, if my memory is correct. And how about the very classic maneuvers that even if you don't know too much about this opening as a spectator, as a fan watching, I feel like this is something that even the beginners in the chat are starting to say, hang on, I see that every time I watch a Italian game position. Knight d2, knight f1, knight g3, and meanwhile knight c6, knight e7, knight g6 from black.
Very easy plans, of course, with the knight g6, knight go over to h5 and the f4. Sometimes you get bishop e6, rook e8. Like the a5 is the more topical ways of playing. I think Magnus used it even in this last game, as when he was, playing World Champion against Jan Nodirbek. Last game with black, an easy draw to be able to secure that last World Championship for him. But yeah, easy plans, very easy plans. I sometimes found that white had problems. Sometimes if you mess up the move orders here, but Magnus not having that problem at all with bishop.
f4 is the last attempt here, and so that's going to prompt Magnus to move out of the way of his own pawn, but nothing is close to happening. The king is going to keep zigzagging, king b7, making sure the pawn is close enough that in one move it can join the kings for safety. Once the pawn gets to b6, you'll see the exact same idea. The king will move out, and then over to b8, the pawn will reach b7. We repeat that pattern all the way up the board. There's absolutely no targets, and then the white rook is looking to shift, for example, to a4 to shield the white king on the a file, and then the pawn will make it all the way up the board.
Should be a resignation soon here. You see it in his face here. Hans understands, okay, yeah, this one's over. Just gathering himself before resignation.
Yeah, the king is also tied to the pawn on f5, so it can't really participate, and just white king will waltz out, and the rook is actually stationed already to play rook b4. So king c6, king b5, rook b4, the bridge is already ready, and this is absolutely resignable, and I think it's obviously set in and been known for a while for these two, but that's the resignation, and what was kind of a one-sided affair after that early sacrifice in the opening. A win for Magnus Carlsen. He moves to 9 points, defeating Hans Niemann on the top board.
Magnus with the win, and the chat goes crazy as